The shrill alarms echoed through the sterile corridors of the Medical Ark, a colossal dome traversing the sky like a guardian angel above the rugged surface of Gath'Treni. The pale, green-tinted lights flickered, casting elongated shadows across the stark white walls, giving the atmosphere an almost eerie glow. Coheal stood at the center of the chaos, her heart racing faster than the sirens. She was no ordinary healer. She was esteemed among the Gath'Treni, respected for her calm demeanor and extensive knowledge of countless species. But today her world tilted off its axis as she stared at Wren Peterson, the human officer, sprawled and bleeding on the cold steel table before her. Redirecting energy to the surgical bay, the computer's voice droned, a monotonous reassurance that did little to comfort Coheal. Her mind raced, jumping from one analysis after another, but panic seeped into her being. This human, this embodiment of the unseen dangers that lurked beyond the calmness of their world, made her heart lurch. Make the incision higher. No. Lower. Wait, establish a pressure point first, she barked, her voice trembling with a tumult of urgency and doubt. The human anatomy was an intricate puzzle, and as she stood on the precipice of failure, the panic gnawed at her gut. Wren, his freckled face stark against the gleaming backdrop, raised a shaky arm, eyes wide with disbelief. Coheal, it's just blood. Stop panicking, I can't lose more. His voice cracked, more a plea than an order, yet beneath the surface glimmered an odd sparkle of humor that defied their dire circumstances. I am not panicking. Human, she snapped, her verdant skin trembling slightly under the fluorescent lights. Her glossy black eyes, typically mirrors of calm wisdom, now swirled with uncertainty. You are losing excessive amounts of your crimson liquid, and... She swallowed hard, her gaze darting to the flickering display above them. It is not stopping. Why is it not stopping? Because I'm hurt, he shouted, frustration tinging the edges of his voice, yet still managing to crack a smile through the haze of pain. Focus, all right? Just use your what do you call those? He wiggled his fingers in an exaggerated manner, a mix of sarcasm and genuine desperation aiming to inspire her calmness. Coheal took a breath that felt heavy with the urgency of their predicament, stealing a glance at the medbots stirring to life nearby, their metallic forms whirring into existence, glistening appendages ready for use. A soft hum emanated from them, comforting, but insufficient against the surrounding chaos. Start applying the coagulation gel. The one meant for third-degree burns, she commanded. Another status monitor blinked, sluggish vitals screaming their requirements. Dr. Wren Peterson, please remain conscious. The computer droned once more, a reminder hanging in the air like a sinister weight. Thank you for the reminder, Wren replied softly, his eyes fluttering with the effort of holding on. Yet a grin split his face. Coheal felt a warmth spread through her, an involuntary reaction to his defiance against the very real threat of death. Their bond had emerged from days of collaboration, she, with her knowledge, and he, with his relentless humor. More gel, she ordered, striving to sound resolute, as she scooped a handful from a silver jar, applying it expertly to his gaping wounds. The grotesque spectacle of what had attacked them during the night, was it a creature of Gath'Treni or another dimension's monstrous blight, hung like a sword overhead, unspoken and dangerous. Coagulation isn't just a word on a chart, he muttered, his voice strained. It's a process. She blinked, her mind racing. Process. Ours works like magic, he said, a faint groan escaping his lips as the gel took effect. Instead of panicking, you should realize that this is normal for me. I mean, gushing like a waterfall. But with that stuff, my blood will thicken. Like glue. Blood thickening? Glue. Coheal reverberated the unfamiliar terms in her mind. How could liquid that flowed so freely become sticky? Get it? Wren focused hard on her eyes, fatigue pooling within them. You're stressing out, and that's not going to help you save me. Understanding washed over her like a cool stream. In her meditative focus, the panic ebbed. She remembered the old lessons at the Academy of Healing, where she studied each nuance of biology, human and alien alike. Coagulation, she recalled, the binding together of blood to form clots. How long does this take, she asked, her determination crystallizing into resolve. She concentrated on the wounds, adding more gel, leaning into this newfound human knowledge. Just breathe, he encouraged, visible confidence returning. Don't overthink it, I trained for this. Just think of blood like water flowing freely at first and then getting thicker. The medbots encircled them, their movements precise and calculated as they began to assist her with movements she demonstrated. They urged her to prepare more gel, mimicking her rhythmic actions. Do you always operate so much better in chaos, she asked, a flicker of amusement crawling into her voice. Only when I'm the patient. Just another day at work, right, he rasped. Yes, a typical day for an alien medic. Except we don't tend to your species' extravagant wounds, she retorted, and mirth permeated the air between them, sanctifying their urgency with levity. As more gel filled the gaps, the atmosphere morphed. Some semblance of calm settled over the room, wrapping around Coheal and Wren like a soft quilt in the face of a storm. The alarms still blared, but their sound seemed distant. Time pressed on, dragging with it the weight of reality. Coheal watched as color began to return to Wren's skin. The bleeding had slowed to a trickle, his monitoring vitals stabilizing. Success, she cried, and a genuine grin broke across her lips as she leaned closer to examine her work. Now that we've saved my life, he managed with an exaggerated dramatic tone, we can figure out if the gory details frighten you or make you laugh next to your fellow Gath'Treni. You'd laugh, she quipped, her heart swelling with warmth as they exchanged glances full of familiarity. Only if I'm not the one splattered everywhere, Wren replied, eliciting laughter that reverberated off the sterile walls of the Medical Ark, mixing with the alarms softly fading into mere background noise. That infectious laughter transformed into an invisible tether, binding Coheal and Wren amid the chaos of wounds and sirens. In her heart, Coheal realized that the intricacies of their cultures rich with differences would further expand through every life they touched together. Their predicament was a mere thread woven into the tapestry of their shared existence, a vivid chaos that promised renewal and growth. With newfound resolve punctuating their laughter, Coheal set her mind to planning next steps. The universe offered myriad challenges ahead, but perhaps, just perhaps, they would navigate them together. And in the verdant skies of Gath'Treni, the horizon shimmered with possibilities that lay entwined in their uncharted alliance. With the medbot buzzing around them, collecting data from the creature, the tension in the air coiled tightly around Coheal and Wren, a shared anticipation swimming in the atmosphere. Coheal leaned closer, studying the creature's form, her fingers brushing the cold surfaces of its tubes, each pulse of energy emanating from it a reminder of both creation and destruction. This was no mere machine, it held within it a life that had been thrust into a world of tumult and conflict, possibly as a test subject or a weapon gone wrong. Look at these markings, Coheal muttered, pointing to what appeared to be a serial number fused into the creature's side, surrounded by intricate patterns of organic veins that thrummed with residual energy. They're not just random, this indicates a lineage or a parent structure. Whatever this is, it is the result of something deliberate, something engineered. Wren shifted closer too, his eyes narrowing as he processed her observations. This is disturbing, Coheal. If someone or something intended to create this, what kind of threat are we really facing? What if they're already among us? A chill coursed through her at the implications of his words. Gath'Treni had always stood as a beacon of tranquility, a place where technology existed in harmony with nature. We must consider the possibility that our own creations have spiraled beyond our control, she replied, her voice steady but cracked with urgency. We may have to confront trials we never wished for. The medbot beeped softly, signaling it had finished scanning, and began displaying holographic data projections swirling in the air beside them. The diagnostics illuminated patterns of energy fluctuation, the organic and mechanical coexistence within the creature, and finally the vitals that teetered on the edge of subsistence. It was alive but in turmoil. Can we wake it up? Perhaps communicate, Coheal contemplated, adjusting her focus back onto the creature. It may hold knowledge we need. With a slight grimace, Wren stepped back, allowing her space but not without a flicker of doubt crossing his features. You think it can understand us? This thing looks like a nightmare blended with something that wants to kill us. Understanding is a two-way path, Wren. Sometimes, pain and fear transcend language, she murmured, her heart speaking louder than her mind. If we're to face whatever comes next, we must bridge this divide. Taking a deep, steadying breath, Coheal placed her palm against the creature's surface, feeling its disarray resonate through her fingertips. I need to steady it, help it find equilibrium, she whispered, channeling her essence inward. A luminescence spilled forth, tinged with green, enveloping her hand and connecting her to the creature's pulse. As her energy entwined with it, a connection unfurled, a fleeting glimpse into a chaotic realm. Coheal experienced fragmented visions coursing through her mind, images of war, pain, and the echoing cries of anguish. She felt the creature's inner turmoil, the agony of being shaped into a weapon, the longing for freedom, and the instinctual dread of being hunted. Coheal Wren's urgent voice broke her concentration as the creature trembled beneath her touch, a quick shuddering that threatened to send her spiraling. Hold on, she urged, pushing back against the burgeoning aversion that threatened to drown them both. It's scared, trapped in a cascading loop of hurt. I can help it. Wren swallowed hard, torn between fear for her safety and an innate desire to protect her when every instinct screamed to escape. You need to be careful. That thing is unpredictable. But Coheal refused to disengage. Each pulse shared between them a blend of courage and empathy deepened her connection. The visions clarified, revealing flashes of its creator's intent. A cold, calculative mind crafted this being for battle, devoid of compassion, an embodiment of conflict meant to invade the peaceful sanctity of Gath'Treni. I see its memories, she breathed, fighting against the influx of information flooding her consciousness. This isn't merely an enemy, it's a product of a cruel ambition, a reflection of our hubris. Can you reach it? Wren asked, studying her face, his voice edged with fear and sympathy in equal measure. Coheal gritted her teeth as the creature's anxiety pulsed through her, intensifying the sting of her connection. I have to try. We must reveal to it that it can be more than this. As she centered her focus, shifting her energy once more, a moment of clarity sparked like lightning in her mind. She shifted her perspective, extending her consciousness outward, a bridge to something deeper within the creature's core. You are not alone, she roared inwardly, breaking through the chaos. You belong to no one's design but your own. The creature's body jerked violently, and for a heart-stopping moment, Coheal feared she would lose her grip on the tether she had forged. But in that split second, a flicker glimmered in the creature's bio-organic eye. It was a recognition of identity, a moment of quiet understanding that stood on the precipice of defiance. Keep talking to it, Wren shouted, his voice electrified with newfound hope, urging her to maintain this fragile connection. It's reacting. Follow your instincts, she urged back, feeling the connection strengthen, racing to immerse herself deeper until she felt woven into the creature's very essence. Trust in its capacity to understand fear, let it know it can exist beyond the violence. With every breath, her words washed over the creature, saturating the air between them with warmth. It hesitated, its form quivering, before the tubes, pulsing with energy, began to stabilize. The viscous liquid stopped bubbling, and the creature's jagged features softened, if just momentarily. As their bond deepened, images cascaded once more, battles lost and won, moments of awe and warmth slipping through the tides of dark memories. Coheal gripped her own heart, feeling a swell of emotions as it revealed glimpses of laughter, companionship, and the innocence it had once possessed. Suddenly, with an earth-shaking roar, the creature released a cascade of light, a blinding eruption enveloping them, washing over them in a wave that disintegrated the fear festering between giver and receiver. Coheal and Wren were knocked back as the energy pulsated, but held closely. An invisible tether remained, binding them all. When the blinding light faded, Coheal lay on the ground. She blinked against the settling haze, feeling Wren at her side, both bewildered and immovable as they stared at the creature, which no longer writhed in agony. Instead, it lay still and tranquil, soundlessly resting. What did we just do? Wren asked, hair slightly singed and eyes wide with disbelief, both fear and respect washing over his features. I believe we reached it, Coheal breathed, catching her breath, her chest rising and falling rhythmically now. In some way, we unlocked potential. As they stood side by side, both filled with questions and uncertainty, the creature's form shifted softly, a peace settling over it akin to a new dawn breaking. The chaotic world outside lingered, but in that moment, an ineffable connection wove between the three of them, a hint of something extraordinary, whispers of understanding forged by empathetic courage. They had taken another audacious step into the abyss, embracing the unknown, striding forth to confront a world that would never be the same. What now? Wren's voice carried a blend of hope and trepidation, an acknowledgement that they were no longer just healers but seekers of truth in an evolving story that spanned both their worlds. Now we prepare for what comes next. Together. Coheal met his gaze, a quiet determination radiant between them, finding solace in their unbreakable bond as they stood resolutely before the creature once a threat, now an ally bound by shared purpose, ready to navigate the enigmatic shadows stretching before them. And so, amid the embers of chaos, Coheal and Wren perceived the dawning of a new era, where hope intertwined with shared purpose. The air around them pulsed with the energy of their past, the misunderstandings, the misgivings, but most importantly, it throbbed with the promise of further evolution. They had ventured through the tapestry of their worlds, cementing bonds where once there was division, creating moments that reverberated across the cosmos. As the gentle vibrations of their environment began to calm, Coheal turned to Wren, her heart swelling with gratitude and admiration. You know, she began, almost hesitantly. In times of despair, we often lose sight of what brings us together. I feared that you, being human, would not understand the depths of this creature's torment. Yet you saw beyond that, didn't you? Wren nodded, the fatigue washing across his features replaced now with a quiet resolve. My world is chaotic, Coheal, but amidst that chaos we learn to find pockets of connection, to break free from the confines our lives impose. It's how we navigate our existence. He took a moment, his gaze drifting toward the creature now resting peacefully in the center of the room. It's akin to what I saw in that being. It needed someone to understand it, to illuminate the shadows. Yes, it's simply a matter of empathy, she stated, her voice soft yet powerful, echoing the sentiments they both understood intuitively now. A lesson learned through trauma. Just as we mend and heal our own wounds, we must extend that understanding towards all forms of life, regardless of our differences. The medbots were busy reorganizing, scanning the newly tranquil creature, and assessing their defenses. An array of screens now played out the aftermath of their prior chaos, graphs and readouts detailing the encounters and victories scored. Yet, even in the flurry of activity, there lay an essence of serenity, the remnants of fear fading, offering space for camaraderie and comprehension. Let's hope the rest of the galaxy learns this lesson too, Wren replied, a twinge of hope threading through his tone. If we can harness this understanding, maybe our species can work together to navigate future conflicts, transforming what has been perceived as weakness into shared strength. Coheal smiled warmly, a sense of kinship enveloping her. That is the vision we must pursue, she affirmed, her thoughts trailing into realms of uncharted possibilities. To guide those who wield power, both human and Gath'Treni, toward a future where our differences celebrate our unity. Right, Wren grinned then, an infectious spark igniting the air between them. Like a universal treaty, but more than that, a bonding of our spirits. The creature beside them stirred ever so slightly, drawing their attention. Coheal approached tentatively, gently placing her hand against its side as she projected her focus outward. You are no longer trapped within a cycle of pain, she murmured softly. You will have the chance to thrive. To her astonishment, the creature blinked, its bioorganic eye reflecting that new connection. A pulse emanated from its core, a soft, resounding hum that vibrated through the very fabric of the room, reverberating in sync with the heartbeat of their collective aspirations. Do you think it understands? Wren asked, a hint of wonder in his voice. I believe it senses our intent, Coheal replied, her heart swelling. It feels the shift. This is a being that has lived through torment, just as many of us have. It now has the opportunity to break free, to explore the world unmarked by oppression. Wren's countenance transformed, the weight of the past shifting from something burdensome into a platform of hope. A new beginning for all of us, then he said, glancing back at the screens displaying their victories. As the alarm settled into a gentle hum of normalcy, the facility buzzed with renewed life. Coheal and Wren, steady companions in their newly united journey, exchanged glances filled with a sense of understanding, one that reached beyond mere words. A meeting of leaders is imminent, Coheal noted, recalling the emergency alerts that had been flashing during the tumult. We must prepare to address the Council of Gath'Treni. Our experiences today could serve as a blueprint for not only our worlds but for potentially forming alliances across distant galaxies. Wren nodded, embracing the idea with a sense of readiness. Then let's make our voices heard, he declared resolutely. We share a pivotal moment charged with unfiltered potential. This could be our chance and opportunity to solidify our purpose as healers. Coheal stepped forward, the resolve blooming brightly in her chest like a newly sprouted flower. Let us guide them to understand that healing is not just for the individuals who suffer but a collective journey for all forms of life. As they moved toward the main assembly area, the atmosphere charged. They had begun to cultivate shared stories, interlaced experiences that would serve as the foundation for something far grander than either could have envisioned at the beginning. Moments later, the council members gathered, seated before Coheal, Wren, and the creature, silent witnesses to the transmutation of their lives unfolding before them. Medics, leaders, warriors, they sat in a diverse assembly, ready to listen. Wren wasted no time, stepping forward and addressing the congregation with a fire ignited by their recent triumphs. Today we stand at the intersection of conflict and understanding, he began, his voice resounding with urgency. We have faced storms together, witnessed the destruction that fear breeds, and through it all we've revealed a deeper truth. Coheal swiftly chimed in, her voice melding seamlessly with his. We learned that every wound can be a pathway to healing, each scar a reminder that empathy offers a bridge between us. Our encounter with this being crystallized that notion we saw ourselves reflected in its struggle. Her words flowed like a river, spiraling into the hearts of those listening. As she finished, Wren added, "It is not simply about survival but a quest for unity, a commitment to recognize our shared existence and strive for connection. Let this moment serve as a catalyst, one that ignites intergalactic cooperation while embracing the significance of our diverse heritages." Soft murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly, the air thick with a nascent understanding. The creature observed in silence, its presence a powerful reminder of the path they had traversed. Coheal felt a swell of hope echoing loudly within her being, knowing they had set wheels into motion that could forever alter the course of their worlds. The discussions flowed freely, each voice adding layers of complexity to the narrative unfolding before them. New ideas sparked, initiatives born from the well of collaboration, and Coheal felt that palpable thread weaving among all present somewhere between intuition and intellect, darkness and light. Today is not merely a day of survival, but the day we choose to forge paths toward healing, she declared, voice steady. We walk this world together now, understanding will be the lifeblood coursing through our veins. As applause erupted through the chamber, a collective sigh resounded, a sign of unity infused into every breath they shared. The creature thrummed beside them, as if responding with shared recognition, resonating immediately with their pleas for connection. Their journey was only just beginning, but as the council dissolved into smaller groups, forming discussions and forging plans, Coheal grasped the enormity of what they had ignited. Hope flourished amidst the embers of discord, life laid out before them like an open tapestry marked by random strokes of individual colors. The possibilities were endless. Standing beside Wren, a steadfast ally and brother forged in the fires of adversity, Coheal felt the grip of destiny upon them all. They would not shy away from uncertainty, nor allow fear to quench their innate desire for unity. This moment ballooned with promise, stitching memories from disparate realities into a story echoing past the stars. Embracing the powerful energy that enveloped them, they set forth with unwavering resolve, their hearts beating in sync with that of countless beings scattered across galaxies, intertwining destinies flickering out among the cosmos. Together they would unearth resilience, healing connections forged under the silvery blanket of stars where hope ignited and light blossomed eternal.